So yeah, we are doing a Monday wrap up. My name is Doc. We're going to go you over some QTA, which is quant trading app, and we're going to focus on a few different things today. And people are going to trickle in as people come in. Um, I'll say hello to them, and we'll get to it. This is open to the public. It's in the enthusiast chat section of the public part of quant trading app. Um, what I want to focus on today was the 2-day VWAP. We were just speaking about that right before we started this recording session. 2-day VWAP is like your normal VWAP. On the quant charts, you'll see it as a thick line, and it extends over 2 sessions, hence 2-day VWAP. The regular VWAP is the thin gray line, and that's over 1 session. Now, as it goes, as I understand it, Bryant tried all the iterations. He tried the 3, 4, 5-day, 7-day. He tried multiple sessions, and he found the 2-day was the most responsive or the most respected, I guess you'd say. So I haven't updated the app since let's see, 2:15, and I haven't really even looked at SPY. So I'm going to refresh it here so we can see it how it plays out live. Right before I do it, though, we were holding on SPY at a previous support. Last time we tested it, we rocketed all the way up to the sell zone the previous week, and now we're testing it again. Right. So if this breaks, this is going to be really interesting. But if it holds, this is going to come into play. And I haven't checked it yet. So this is it's like opening up a box on Christmas. I have no idea what we're going to get, but what we're going to get, we're going to go through it. Okay. So that support held. It looked like it broke a little bit. It dipped, but it got rejected and then tested again. So what I mean by that is the support broke down, and when it came back to retest it, the retest failed and it came back up in, hit our regular VWAP. I'll extend it here. And then off of that, back to support and then rocketed up. Now, I was just talking to someone who is an old friend, and she was saying, oh, that's great. I want to talk about the 2-day VWAP. How does it work if we were talking about either day trading or swing trading? And it couldn't have been more perfect. If it lands, if it goes, it almost could have been perfect. More perfect could have been if it showed during the trading session that this held like a good bounce off of it. There's a good, it's a good signal that tomorrow would we be testing against this support. Now that they were into this 24-hour trading, there's more traders and there's more action that happens overnight. So that doesn't really hold true. But as far as swing trading goes, you want to gather all the signals and all the data that you can, and this would just be another one in your bucket. So for tomorrow, we can come back and revisit this because it's a 2-day VWAP. This data is going to be incorporated into tomorrow's data, right? This VWAP is going to start over wherever we open, but this data will be used to create tomorrow's. So it's important that if we hold on one end, see now, we back up the beginning of the day. I think I posted in chat that we had a good rejection off the VWAP. That was pretty much the only move of the day. If you're a day trader, you want to look for a quick move. You want a strong, solid move, not like a trickle down, but just a solid move. So we opened, we ran up, we hit it, we found support at the mean, coming back up once, I think once, twice, 3. You can count how many times, and then finally that rejection down. The next support was the intraday. That would be your move of the day. You can get in at with the rejection and get out at the support. We don't want to hold, right? Day trading is not all day trading. Day trading is, you have to think of it as like, I made a day trade. That's really the focus that you should have. You should have one trade that you have throughout the course of a day, and then you can close the books. If you start holding and hoping for more, you're going to run into trouble because theta comes in and just sucks the life. It just bleeds your premium dry. So you get in when it starts, you get out when it's over, and that's it. So for a swing trade, because this showed really strong as a rejection and resistance, this is now should be another rejection and resistance. And tomorrow, be based on this signal alone. I'm not saying this is what's going to happen, but based on the signal alone, you should see another attempt at that technical support. So the intraday is going to change. These two bars, the intraday, these are going to disappear, and we're going to have new intraday based on where we open tomorrow. But this tech support will still stay, right? We came down, we found support, we broke, we tested again, got rejected, came back to that, we broke up above, and then we touched it again, and we were gone. So this is proving to be good support, and this was proving to be good resistance. So if those hold, we should see a battle in between those two lines tomorrow. So if you're playing butterflies or you're playing iron condors, this is the type of action that you look for. You want to look for a strong resistance and a strong support to create those tight bookends that happen and that really could help you be successful in a trade that's 1 day or 0 DTE, not a few weeks out. This is strictly talking about day trade and swing trade only. So the 2-day VWAP is more respected than people realize. And if you could trade just out of paper trading, just use that for a few times and you get used to it, you'll pick it up right away. And to get used to it, again, you just go back testing a couple days. We'll just go Wednesday next week and we'll just follow it through. And we can see if that has that same rejection or setup. The same thing happens too on a support. So this, not so much we rejected off the 2-day VWAP. That was the one. That was the test, I guess. The technical support, that was the beginning of it. We rejected off of it and came back up. So this might not be a good example. We'll play it through to see how it happens. So remember that 2-day VWAP was really well down away from all the action. But now when it incorporates the second day, we have this nice steady line. And again, all that overnight trading, we don't really see any action that happened there, but we stayed above it. Sometimes you get good examples, sometimes you don't. But the idea is that if it's showing you that it's staying on one side, it's got a touch and a rejection, and a hard one at that, the only way to think of it is like, hey, it's going to stay that way until it's not. It's this most annoying phrase that's out there is the trend is your friend until it's not. So what that means is I have to believe you until it's time not to believe you, right? So if someone's telling you the weather and he's telling you Monday's going to rain, Tuesday's going to be sunny, Wednesday's going to rain, and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is exactly how he said, then there's no point, there's no chance or there's no inclination that you should believe that should change until he's wrong, and then you start being skeptical. So that's how I look at the 2-day VWAP. It's more respected because it's a smoother average. It uses 2 days instead of 1. The VWAP is great for scalping intraday, but when you incorporate a 2-day VWAP, you have another data point to have a better entry and exit and hopefully some bookends. Did I hit your point there?
Yes.
Awesome. Oh, you changed your mic. You're right up in it now. Excellent. So what it was we talk about in enthusiast chat, I brought the attention to let's just go down here. The SPY. Microsoft is one thing that we covered in the Friday wrap up, the weekly wrap up on Friday, because Microsoft had a bit of a move that was likened to a trend day. And a trend day is essentially when institutions or banks or major whales players, when they rebalance their positions, you could see a lot of volume come in, and then you could see a steady move up. Usually institutions, when they rebalance their positions, they'll do it slowly over time as to not affect their price, because they want to get the best price possible, just like everyone else. So they'll get, 2% one day, 1% in the, if it dips, they'll buy that. They have traders that build their positions slowly. If it's something in a rush or something like an opportunistic type of move or something based on a catalyst, they trade on catalysts too. They get news, maybe 10 or 15 minutes before us, but they get news also. In any event, we had a move on Microsoft, and we went over on how QTA was able to tell us where that move was going to and where that support was for profit taking and possibly higher. And if you missed it, I think I posted. I think the full video is posted on YouTube, but we might chop this one up to clips. Either way, we examined a zone of resistance, right? That red box. Every time we get into it, we get rejected back down. So on Friday, that was, again, the trend is your friend until it's not. We had no reason to believe that we would cross and break this 429 because it's 429 has been holding pretty well. So what we're looking at here, and I prefaced it by saying that it's usually a bad thing when we enter a supply zone because we get rejected and come back down. But I think today, getting into this zone is actually good news. If you're bullish on Microsoft like I am, it's good news. And all we have to do is zoom out a little bit, and then we can see that we're on this huge bear flag. I mean, bull flag, sorry, bull flag, right? We come up, we have a flag, and we continue to higher. That is your bull flag and continuation right there. The continuation is what's expected after the move. And you can actually kind of measure what move you can expect from a bull flag like this by measuring the bold pole here. And there's two places that you can apply. There's two schools of thought. One is from the support of the bull flag to higher. That would bring us to 460. And then the other one, the more aggressive one, is a full breakout from the rejection or what caused the consolidation in the first place. And then that can bring us all the way up to 490. And that's why a lot of times when you have price targets, you'll have a zone of a price target rather than a specific level, right? I know I have more levels on my chart than most people, but they all have something to say. And what we're going to ask them to say is, this is our goal. The green is our target for Microsoft. When it gets there, it should follow, according to the technical analysis guidebook, right? It should follow the same kind of trajectory that it brought us into this consolidation in the first place. So you have a run up on the pole, a flag. This is a very long flag, by the way. This is very long. We'll switch to the day because I know people like the day a little better. And we'll shut everything off. So this is what it looks like in pure, without my marking up, right? This is a very extended bull flag. The longer it extends, the more chance it has to collapse. But if we just look left, we're trying to hold on to this support here, and that's where we consolidate against. And it makes sense because any type of big run up, especially after a dive here, you have a big run up, people look left and they'll realize, okay, this was support. Now we have some resistance here at the beginning of this gap. So we're going to start taking some profit. And as people take profit, again, the institutions, they don't just sell their position in one day. They sell it over the course of many days. And they keep selling as long as people keep buying. And then one of two things are going to happen. It's either the supply is going to run out and people still want to buy. And if that supply is no longer there, the price starts moving up because the demand is still there, but the supply has dried out. Option two is that whoever's, the institutions or even just anyone who is in it, once they start coming to the end of their supply, if the demand also is satisfied, then that's when you see a drop or a fade in price action. And today gave us good looks for higher. And what's the best way to look at it? Let's try that 2 hour. So we had a big run up on Friday and some profit taking. It's some consolidation in its own right? It's a pole and a flag. But we want to look at where the flag found support, just like we did on the full daily. We look left. We found technical support here. It's right there at 416. We're finding support, right? Resistance, 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 no resistance. We come back, retest for higher. And this is a nice bullish setup coming to start the week, especially. If you're ending a week on a run up over the weekend, there's usually so much news that can come out that can affect it. And it apparently it did. People are saying whatever we're not going to get into what they're saying, but they took profit, but not enough for people to say, I want back down to this support. The flag is now looking bullish at the end of its run. If we shut this off, maybe. Is it easier to see? If I go like this. So flag, 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 and now a flag within a flag to show higher. Does that mean that tomorrow Microsoft is going to pop from, let's see, 406? So that was a good, almost a 20-point move on Friday, right? And that's the length of the pole. And now if we do that measurement again from where it found support, 415, that should take us to 435. And the secondary one would be the resistance, 425 to 445. So I'm not saying that tomorrow we should see a pop of 20 points, because we could extend this flag and we could come back and try and find support again. And but again, there's signals, and we want to follow their signals until they don't work for us. And I always use the example of, if you're following a car driving north in Manhattan and you're going up, and it's going, the guy in front of you puts his left turn blinker on, and the 52nd Street's coming, he doesn't make a left turn, and he keeps driving. You're like, well, what's going on? I thought he was going to turn. So then 53rd, or he's going to turn here. No, he doesn't turn again, and he's not turning. You get mad, but the guy driving in front of you, he does not have to turn. He might have hit the signal by accident. He may be looking for, the right block. It might be one way, the other way. Whatever the case is, he's signaling to you that he's going to turn, but the car doesn't really have to. So that's a good way to look at all types of data when you're looking at a possibility of the execution of a pattern. Another way we can do overlay some data is by using the quant trading app. So here we have a whole bunch of selections that are on the website. You can also overlay this on your Thinkorswim or TradingView. There's scripts available. They're weekly and intraday. I find it easier to separate from my drawings that are plentiful by using this. And plus, I'm on the website all day as it is. So I'm going to select Microsoft. And what we're going to do is find the quant levels for Microsoft for this week, right? And we open in the middle of it, right here at the mean, which is that dotted line there. This is the average of everything. And just a refresher to grab it easily around it, how it works is that most of the action wants to happen between the buy and the sell zone here. Here's the buy, here's the sell zone throughout the week. Then the outer limits are the 2 sigma lines, right? 2 standard deviations away from the mean. Anything else out of that is like less than 8%. The other lines that are in here are the intraday patterns. Now, these are also mathematical complications that I'm not even really understanding, but this is where the most of the action is expected to take place based on previous math equations. When they're not impassable, right? So it's not like, oh, the intraday lines, they don't work. We're trading outside the intraday lines. That's okay. Treat them just as any other level. Support and resistance levels, just like on your technical analysis. Support and resistance levels are meant to be broken. And it's how they break it that gives us the advantage as day traders and scalpers and swing traders, and even in finding good entries for a long position. For instance, on Microsoft, I'm entering a longer position on Microsoft based on where we reached here. This might, if it's not their 52-week low, it might be close to it. But this proved to be good support. This proves to be looking like a good possible execution. This is for me, in my mind, this was a good area to add it to my long-term portfolio. But let's see how this looks. So now 2-day VWAP. What do we know about it? We know that it's a 2-day session. It's hovering around it. It's not giving us any type of clear support or rejection. Here it failed at support. Here it failed at rejection. But now you have super confluence. You have the regular VWAP, which is this thin, skinny line. You have the intraday line, and you have the 2-day VWAP. We broke it midday, and now we're holding it on top. This would be what I was talking about in the beginning of the session, lead me to believe that tomorrow would be a positive reaction from it. Now, again, it's not all the time, right? Because we can just go back one day on Friday and see how that looks on the 2-day VWAP. And we'll see if that kind of played through. Oh, that wasn't even, okay. So it didn't even come into play. It didn't even come into play. I was really hoping to give you a good example of it. We'll get a good example of it. But holding above could give us a positive into tomorrow. So let's go to another set of data, and this would be the GEX. Now, I think GEX is something that one of the first things that I gravitated to when joining QTA. I spent a 3-day weekend after, meeting with Brian, and I remember I might have been in the hospital at that time, but I spent poring over it for a 3-day weekend, and then I came in guns blazing on that Tuesday. So I'm going to go to the snapshots here. This is the GEX environment for Microsoft. This is the latest. We'll just go right to the latest, and if we have to go back, we will. This was generated 12 minutes before closing. Here we have the spot price at 422, and we closed at 423, so that matches up. Now, if you've seen the other videos or you've seen Bryant's explanations of it, absolute GEX, right? That's the area of the highest liquidity. This purple line. And I pulled up the absolute, the advanced GEX here to dive in a little more. But this will shift. This purple line will shift to where the highest liquidity is. So right now, it's at 440. And does that sound familiar from when we were talking earlier about the extension or not? Did I miss it? Let's see. So we had 417 to 425. It's just under like 17 points, right? No, 8. What am I saying? 17. So that's about 8 points. Add 8 points to 425, you get 432. So it didn't match up there. Maybe it was one of these on the big run, right? We started at 410, and the poll went up to 428. So that is like about a 20 point. So a 20 point from 418 would give us 438. I know I marked off 440 for a reason, right? Or am I just being crazy? Either way, I do remember saying 440 for something. So this is giving us a good confluence of, oh, wait, maybe it was this pole right here. I measured the pole, and 460. Anyway. So 440 is a high GEX. It's an absolute GEX position. And right now, the call volume isn't at that 440. It's somewhere in between at 430. So this is a strong magnet. It's a strong magnet that wants to pull the price up, but this is an obstacle in the way. And not so much as an obstacle as turn around and get out of here. It could be, but this is something to take note of. So we'll mark that off. And I'll just borrow a line. Oh, it's 430 is already here as technical resistance. That 429, right? 429 was what started this whole consolidation to begin with. We had the run up, 429. We didn't fall back down. We found support, run up again, 435, and then 429, 429. 429 has been a hard line to pop. And now this is showing us why, because of that call volume. So this is where I'm going to open up the advanced GEX. So what we were looking at was the snapshot of the GEX environment at the time. Advanced GEX is available on the website here. And what you can do is you pop in your ticker, and then you can slide over here. This will give you every expiration that's on the options table for the ticker you've entered. So what we'll do is uncheck all, and we'll just use, should we do, well, why is it, they also, I didn't realize Microsoft also went to 3 days a week. It's, the options market is getting flooded with options players. Just be careful. I'm going to do a video specifically on options and how we need to respect it. You know, it's like fire. It really, options is really like handling fire. It's very useful, but it's also very dangerous. So here we have the similar chart that we just looked at, right? But here we have the ability to toggle through different data sets. So we'll start with the absolute GEX, right? This was that high point. And that is letting us know where the highest absolute GEX is. But you can also look at the secondary and the tertiary and see where the next movement is. So usually you'll have the highest liquidity closer to where the spot price is, and then the secondary or the tertiary is the one that I look for to start increasing. Here, it's already beaten me to the punch that the highest absolute GEX is far away. So my job is not as hard, not like my job, but my usual game plan is already planned. I usually look for the secondary option or the tertiary or the third possible high GEX. But right now it's set high GEX, absolute GEX right there. And now the call volume, and we spoke of, is right in the middle. The fact that it's a giant spike like this, you might as well treat that as not like an obstacle, but more like a brick wall. You have to run into it and then kind of like battle through it. Because this is still going to, if this is still a magnet, once we reach this point, you start looking higher. You start looking for this to grow, and you start looking for other areas to grow above it, increasing the magnetizing action. If it runs into this and the call volume just starts eating away, and we start getting stagnant, we start settling here, this may drop off, and people might say, okay, we've run into a serious resistance. And it's fair, because every time we've hit that wall, we've come back down. The only difference is this setup that we have today gave us, well, I drew this, I didn't mean to draw it like this, but the trend line that's been drawn here actually shows a support system that many people don't look at. Support systems are levels, but they're also diagonal or trend lines. So resistance here, resistance here, resistance here, no resistance here, a retest. So if I just turn this 15 degrees, or you just tilt your head to the right a little bit, it's a level, right? It's just like every other level we've seen. You know, we test, rejected, test, rejected, test, rejected, break, retest for higher. And that's, if anyone takes away anything from this video, a break and retest and continuation is one of the fundamental plays for day trading, or even any type of investing. You don't want to just break out. You want to break out and then secure that breakout as support. Think of it as when you leave your house, you leave your home, you walk out, you turn around, and you lock the door, and you check it. You don't just open the door, walk out, and get in your car and go have a good day. Right? You walk out, you turn around, you lock the door, you make sure it's secure, and then you go about your day. It's a good way to remember that, because a lot of times, including me, you know, like when something breaks out, I get excited. I'm like, okay, here we go. That's it. We're going to the moon, right? But you want to remember to hit that retest. Sometimes retests don't come, and we do go to the moon. Eventually, we come back. Case in point, all we have to do is look back. Microsoft, did we have a really good, healthy recheck here? Or we just kind of like broke out? Usually you can break out, you hit it again, and you bounce up. It's kind of like a bouncing ball. You're dribbling, right? You dribble up, you dribble harder, and you go higher. This, you kind of hit support, and you just kind of took off. And now when we're hitting it again, this is the retest. You can think of it like that. This is an exaggerated example, but a secondary touch, or in this case, a firm touch on a previous support, usually gives us a good measure for higher. And if we're talking about a break and retest, if we just look on a weekly level, right? We have rejection here. We break. We kind of find some type of support here to go higher, and wasn't really good. So we come back, we test it again. Support, okay, we test it. Rejection, rejection, support again. This is proving to be really strong support. And that's another good way to like find your entries for longer. If you find a good support, that's where you want to go long. You don't want to go long so much on the breakout, right? You don't want to really go long or breakout here. You want to go long where there's less of a chance to go lower. Same thing if you're getting puts or you're playing any type of downside. You want to get in if there's less of a chance for going higher. So is 429 or even now 450, is that going to be an area where it's less of a chance for going higher? We'll have to play that when we get there. But then just a quick look at the MACD. And don't sleep on these MACDs and the RSIs and the KSTs. These indicators, they've been around for a while for a reason. An overextension of this MACD is a good indication for a pop up. Same way the other way. If we have an extreme high up here, you can kind of say, all right, we might want to come back down rather than going higher from here. Otherwise, we'll just start consolidating and go back and forth like this. So just, again, another data set to lay over it. And I kind of drifted away from the GEX, but this looks good, right? For a swing trade. This is May 18th. No, we want the, okay, 22nd. Right, 22nd. Okay, good. This is a Friday's expiration. And if we're playing the long game, we can pop in the next 2 weeks going into June, and we'll see what the option chain says for us there. So we have this 410. This is an outlier. This is where the absolute GEX is highest. But see it's not a standalone. I mean, you kind of make a case, but there's other areas of interest. And as we get closer to these dates, these will tighten up. So right now, there's more options saying high GEX, high GEX, high GEX, rather than low GEX. And we got to keep this in mind, though. The 410, we're not going to just erase that from our memories and say, that's just an outlier, it doesn't exist. Keep it on our minds, but this does look nice up there. And then you can just go ahead and pull in the open interest. That's highest around 460. That sounds familiar, right? We had 460. The put open interest, if that lines up with 410, then we have something to talk about. Yeah, so that's where the open interest is. But now, call volume, 450, that's the highest. And now the put volume should be at that 410. It's not. So the put volume doesn't line up with that high GEX. If it did, that would be a strong level. The put volume is a little higher up at a support zone that we were just at 417.5. So that makes sense. If we use that 417, that's going to be good support there. Meaning, back on if we go local, because those people that have those expirations that are 2 months out, they're still looking at the current levels. So that 417.5 lines up right where we found support. So that could explain why there's good support there. It has that put volume. And as I said earlier, that brick wall that we'd had to get to for the call volume, that big spike, same thing with put volume. As far as the way I trade with GEX, this could be good support. It's when they get like a blob and they kind of get, extended and they just become like an area. And that's when it kind of gets like a little fuzzy. But when it's a nice spike like this, it creates a nice level. You get a nice rejection. I mean support actually on this right here. I hope I didn't rush through any of that. How's it going, Evie? Oh, Ev, what's up? I could I could talk about charts and QTA till I'm absolutely blue in the face, and then some. And I love answering questions. So I was telling earlier that this is recorded for YouTube to play later. Your names aren't going to be there, but if you do speak, your voices will be on it. And I don't want to out anyone. I don't know if you might have told someone you had something to do, and here you are hanging out with me. But I think both of you are gold members. But if you are watching this video and you want to try quant trading app, this room that we were talking about, the enthusiast chat, is open to the public. It's free. And if you do decide you want to join, use the code DNOW30. It gives you 30% off your first month. And that's full access. It's not limited for that first month or anything. You get all the gamma exposure suites and snapshots and the full chat rooms and everything. But I mean, come into the enthusiast chat and watch how to use it first. Get to know it. Get to know me, and get to know how to find support levels and resistance levels that you may not see on the chart. Brian calls it the X-ray specs, and that's exactly what they are. You know, you put on your glasses and you're able to see levels that aren't there. And by that I mean that aren't really. Where was that 440? So when you have that 440, that level that lines up with a previous level, it had support. We broke it only through that gap down. That lines up good. But sometimes there's levels that you don't really want to, or you don't see, like a call volume spike that's in the middle of nowhere, like that 417 right here, right? Previous, if you're using uh, if you're creating levels for day trading, you look at three areas, right? You look at the first 15 minutes that create your I forgot what they call it, your open range or your op- something. Anyway, it creates its own range in the first 15 minutes with all that volume, and then you look at the pre-market, and you look at the overnight, and you look at the previous day. And 417, you could make a case. I can find it here, but when you get information that tells you, uh, look that where do we find it? I'm lost myself. But when you get something that says, "Hey, listen, 417.5, that's something to look at," and it comes up, and boom, that's where we stopped. Okay, now I feel like I have a good map that I'm looking at, and that's really the ins and outs of support and resistance using three sets of data, and that's I always come back to the overlays. You use three sets of data. You use your technical analysis, and the technical analysis could waver from person to person, even with yourself day to day. You could be in a very positive mood about Microsoft one day, and your technical analysis looks very bullish, and then Microsoft Teams or you lost your password is giving you, and you're like, I hate Microsoft, and you just start looking very bearish on it. So that's where you come in and you use the math, right? This is the math. It doesn't come. The quant charts do not come from the options table, and they do not come from anyone's thinking or thought process. This is quantitative trading, right? Two standard deviations from the mean. It gives you the two sigma lines, all calculated. So when the calculations line up with your technical analysis, you get a little more confidence. And then to back it up, when you start overlaying what the options table is showing you, then it's just like, now I have gasoline for the fire. So when that technical analysis started showing us that 440 for the execution of the bull flag, and we come on here and we see that, okay, I'm not alone. I'm not alone in this thinking, right? This area is a high liquidity, and we had a strong signal that it's going to be a magnet there. And just don't forget about that call volume spike at 430, which has been previous resistance. And just for kicks and giggles to find out where the put volumes are. I wouldn't say that the put volume is a problem here at 425. If this gets momentum, 425 could easily become a good support. So again, I mean, if you're watching this video and you want to comment, uh, please do so. But also get into enthusiast chat. Leave a question here, and we can address it. I did want to also mention McDonald's. McDonald's is a company that is seen around the world as an American flagship, I guess you'd say. So it's at a 52-week low, and a lot of, I shouldn't say a lot of people, but it was asked of me if this was a good buy, and I initially I was like, yeah, this is really strange. Why would a food company be so affected by it? So there's two reasons about it. When you're looking into it, he was reminded of me that McDonald's is an American company, and right now there's a sentiment to boycott American companies around the world. Another thing that was a rise, I don't know if it's true or not, was like a food safety outbreak or something. These are catalytic things. Those are that's a reactionary response to news. But when you dive deeper into the McDonald's fundamentals, you find that McDonald's plans to open more stores internationally. You know, they're looking to expand. So they're not slowing down. And I think that's why you had this pop here. You have two camps and two ends of that thinking. Is one is that it's an American company and they want to boycott it, but at the same time, how much? I mean, McDonald's is a tank when it comes to to financial growth. You know, and all we have to do is just look out. I mean, this is the weekly chart. Let's go to the quarterly. Let's just run up. This is McDonald's quarterly chart. And I'm sure they've had food scares before. And I'm sure America was involved in wars that were unfavorable in maybe people's eyes. And they found ways to go around it. So I think on the surface, you could take this as an opportunity, but also cautiously. You know, you want to know that where is support? And we're on the quarterly here, and we see here resistance, 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 rejection, support goes higher. And we trail up, we trail up, we trail up. We hit resistance, 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 a pop, retest didn't work. We fall down to previous support. And just to replay that, resistance, support, pop, right? Resistance, 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 support, pop. Who knows? So is it an opportunity? Yes. I'm not saying put your money into it, but I'm not saying don't do whatever you need to. But that's my breakdown of McDonald's. This is a reactionary hit. Whether it's valid or not is not the question. It's just that the trend is our friend until it's not. And I mean, right? I mean, the only other thing like that grows like this is maybe a waste management corporation. In fact, let's look at that. Is waste management. It's another one of these portfolio staples. That's interesting that waste management's hitting a resistance the same time McDonald's has. That would be a good, maybe that'd be a good video. Why is waste management and McDonald's almost mirrored? Let's set it up. I know there's a joke there too. So McDonald's is the gold. Let's see if we can get it lined up right. And waste management is the bars. Oh, I had it there. That's pretty impressive. Obviously, this is the pandemic, the dip. Consolidation, a dip here. There is definitely a video and a joke there for sure. Waste management and McDonald's has very similar trajectories. But either way, what goes up must come down, I guess, eventually. Are they gonna? Is this just a retest of previous support, or is it a door to come down and find more support? Either way, would still be a healthy for a bullish action further. The more it comes down, I believe it just sets you up for more to go higher, especially in companies like waste management. and an international global staple like McDonald's. But there you have it. That's I can't believe I stuck to my game plan. This is a good opportunity for me to thank you guys for watching, but also I think we're gonna do that from now on. Like lay out what I'm going to talk about because I think a couple of you in here, Mila and Ev, could show me could vouch that I do go off on tangents and we just get into it.
Doc,
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
can I ask you a question? Where can we find recording? Is it on QTA website, YouTube, or under your name?
I think these videos were just put out under my YouTube name. I think it's just under.
What is that?
I'm not sure actually. That's a good question. Let me pull it up on the other one. I think it's Stock Doc.
Okay.
Hang on. I have it as Doc2K or Stock Doc 2K. Maybe I'll put a link. I don't know if I'm.
Okay.
Excellent question, but I don't know if I don't. I'll check with Brian. I don't want to put a link in the chat here,
Okay.
but awesome.
Okay. I love your metaphors. I absolutely love your metaphors. It's brilliant. It's helped me. I never was able to understand retest, but checking door, I understand. So it's brilliant. Thank you so much.
That's awesome. When I was saying that analogy, I was kind of envisioning you running out for the day. Getting onto the. That's really funny. I think analogies. Yeah, I think analogies help with learning, and they kind of cheesy, but I think that's good. You want something that's going to be a little bit of silliness. I mean, we're in a
memorable. Yeah.
Memorable.
It makes it memorable. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Mila. Two funny things we learned today is that checking the door to make sure you go out for the day is also like support and retest, and also McDonald's and Waste Management ride the same waves and the same market trajectory. I should call the producer at Med Money and have a segment on that. But yeah, this has been awesome, and again, we're gonna have, I think, more sessions that I want to do live, like during actual trading, and then we can just kind of like chill out and hang out, and then for like a couple hours or 3 hours at a time, and we don't have to have a checklist of actual things to talk about, but just like an open conversation. And I'm looking forward to that when things kind of calm down. And I've been saying that for over 2 years, but now we're really gonna get it calm and do it.
But this thing is it like every Monday?
This
or just when you feel like it. When
today
you're gonna pop up? Because I was very lucky that I saw you, but like when it's gonna be next week, in a couple of weeks, or
yeah, the Monday I try to do the Mondays every day around like around closing. So usually 3:30 or 4 o'clock. I haven't really gotten too much of a turnout, so maybe we'll change it to another day. But right now it's every Monday. You can just check here on the events channel, and it's every Monday.
I was just lucky today. I just pushed it, and I was like, oh, okay. I miss Doug's energy, so awesome.
You say you were lucky, but I say I was lucky that you caught it because I was lucky to have you here.
Awesome, thank you.
Awesome. Well, yeah, this is great. I love having you in the rooms too. You give a great, good positive energy, and that's what we need.
Thank you.
All right, so you heard it here. We have every Monday. I say 3:45, but it's usually 3:45 to 4 o'clock. And Mila will be there, and I will be there. And I guess until next time, I'll see you guys in the chat rooms. And Mila, I'll see you soon.
Awesome.
All right. Take care.